Alaykum guys. Welcome back to episode 10.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Spill with MIL&DIL.
Spill with MIL&DIL.
We're finally in the double digits now. 10.
Yeah.
10 episodes. Thank you guys for all the support, like always.
Yeah, we do appreciate your support. Alhamdulillah, you guys did support us, so that's why we are nearly 400?
Yeah, 400 subscribers. We've just been on live and again, lots of you were excited to see this episode. So, yes. Okay, as always, Aunty, let's do our Islamic reminder.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put this here up. I don't want to spill this. Shall I put yours there?
Thank you.
We've actually got something in it this time. Okay, Islamic reminder.
Islamic reminder.
Today, this one says, you must go through a period of emptiness to be able to fill yourself with Allah's love. Certainly, He is Al-Muqit, the nourisher of hearts. Is that Al-Muqit? M-U-K-Q-I-T?
Muqit, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people, when they do feel like they're going through a really hard time or nothing, is everyone turns to some form of God. Obviously for us, Allah, and even if you're non-Muslim or non-Muslim, people do say, "Oh, please pray for me," and people do naturally turn to an Almighty, I guess, and Allah is that. So that's really cute. You must go through a period of emptiness to be able to fill yourself with Allah's love. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like that's happened to me actually.
And only Allah, when you go to Allah, then Allah helps you. So you should always.
Do you find that that's happened to you, where you felt empty and you?
Oh yeah. It happens.
I've had that.
I think with everybody it has happened. The time comes when you feel that, and then you go to Allah, and Allah helps you.
And you know what? There's been times where like this has happened, and you like cry in that moment, and then you kind of feel a bit like weight's been lifted off your shoulder because
that's true.
You've been feeling this way, and then you've spoken to Allah, or you've done dua, whatever.
And it doesn't matter how much you speak to your loved ones or anybody, but when you do that, have faith on Allah and you speak to Allah, you have, like you said, that you feel that
less
a lot of burdens taken off your shoulders.
And it might be just for that day, but it's still, you feel some sort of relief that you've let it out.
That's true.
And you know, actually, somebody saw this on TikTok, or I think, TikTok, and people talk about therapy and they go to therapy to help them release. Yeah. And this guy was like, reading namaz 5 times a day is my therapy because I can let out all my worries, all my anxiousness, or like any anger I'm feeling, anything. And he goes, that's my form of therapy. Yeah. He says, going to actual therapies, they don't understand. The only person who really understands, Allah is the only one who understands. Right. So, and I found that actually within my own personal life, that's helped a lot as well. Okay, I just wanted to ask, how have you been finding I'm a Celeb? Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, it's been really good. I actually never watched all of the episodes like that. I'm watching it now that, I'm trying to watch all of them. And it is quite interesting.
Yeah. But you're always like,
some of the places, that's not what I like. But,
do you like it?
Yeah,
who do you want to win? Well, now who's
I
left?
wanted to Danielle, actually.
Danielle, Who's left? Josie's left, Sam, Nigel. Somebody else is, what was that?
Nick? No,
he's left. Tony.
Sorry.
Tony, I think it was Sam to win.
Yeah, he went.
You know, every person that's left so far, they've said they wanted Sam to win.
Oh, really?
So I think if he doesn't win now, it's going to be rigged.
Yeah.
But no, I do really like him. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
And if he always says, that's me. Okay, so we've got our topics in our glass. So Auntie, do you want to pick a topic of your choice? Oh, let's find out what today's topic is. Oh, finding a spouse. That's actually interesting. We were just online and somebody was asking, how do you, in this generation, find someone nowadays? Okay, what would you say?
सबसे पहले तो मैं उर्दू में थोड़ा सा बताऊंगी कि आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा ये मसला चल रहा है कि स्पाउस को फाइंड करना मुश्किल हो रहा है, चाहे वो फैमिली की हेल्प के साथ कर रहे हैं या खुद देख रहे हैं, बच्चे ढूंढ रहे हैं. It's getting really hard to find someone, right person in your life, who you can spend the life with. It is getting really, really hard. I don't know. We have spoken before as well. I think in one of the podcasts that if you're looking for somebody, should be communication. A lot of communication between you both first before anyone else involves in your life. That whatever your expectations are from your partner or your to-be husband or to-be wife, you should communicate through it. And even, for example, somebody really wants children, for example, and the other person is not as keen, or that person is as well, but if the person who really want to have the children, especially when to, have straight away after 2 years, after 3 years. I'm just giving an example. It's not necessarily this is gonna be your thing, but I'm just giving an example that if that happens, then both should be sure about it, that you can change mind or you can't change mind, or what you think about it and how it happens, how you're gonna deal with it, all sort of things. So anything you discuss about, it should be communicated.
Do you know what you said about children? This one of my friends, she's not Muslim or anything, and she was with, I think I told you, but she was with this guy for a long time, and she's always wanted to get married, she's always wanted to have children, and he said, like, yeah, of course, like, he goes, yeah, not now, but one day, like, maybe, like, I will want children. Because they got together when they were teenagers, and then up until, they're not together anymore, but, they went into 20s together and everything. So then she then had the conversation again with him, and he said, no, I never want to have children. And that was the reason why they broke up. But he should have said that. He goes, I've never ever wanted to have children. But he told her from the start.
That's why I just gave an example.
No, but it does happen though. But it does happen.
Anything you have expectation in your life from your partner or your husband to be or wife to be, you should communicate. You should make
this is what I'm trying to say, is that he did say that, so she had that faith that, okay, we will, obviously we're not going to have it now, we're early 20s or whatever, but he did say one day we will, and then he turned around and then spent 5 more years.
That didn't continue then the life.
That's what I'm saying, but she could have ended that relationship in her early 20s, so she then had another 4 years of relationship with him, and then when they spoke again, he then said, no, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have children. So he just wasted, in my eyes, I said, well, you should have said that from the get-go.
But it could be general reasons for not to, that thing to happen, whatever you discuss about. For any health reason or for any other reason, anything, any expectation you have in from the person, and for any other reason, genuine reason that can't happen, and the other person should be
but in this situation,
he
didn't want it. He never wanted it. So he should have just said from the start, when she asked the first time, actually, no, that's not something I want. I don't want to have children, don't want to get married. Then she could have then found somebody else, and and then got. But
at least she wouldn't have wasted 3-4 years.
But a lot of people do that. That they say, of course I want to get married, or of course not married, or want to have children, or of course I want this. But then actually they're just saying it just to please the other person, just because they don't want to lose them, because they're scared. But if they said, because she could have been like, actually, you know what, fair enough, but I still want to be with you. She could have compromised. But because he lied, basically, is what
it's
happened.
deceiving in a way.
It is.
Always, whenever you're looking for somebody, don't try to deceive or have that kind of intention, negative intention. Always stay positive and whatever you think. My thinking is that the communication makes a lot of difference. How you can spend
and being honest with that person, whether you're a man or a woman, being honest with each other will get you a long way, because you might have that conversation. You might be like, actually, it's okay if they don't want this, or it's okay if they don't want that, because I want to still be with them. And you know now.
Yeah, and be prepared if you're not gonna be able to fulfill that expectation just there and there.
Yeah.
Just don't go ahead and don't
if it's
think
too
that
much.
It's okay for now and it'll be fine after. But no, be sure about it. Communicate. If some of the issue which you find in that the other person thinking different, then make sure communicate through again and again, and then decide what to do. Don't take risks, and because it's the life you want to spend rest of your life with that person, so you should be really sure about it, that how it's gonna be.
Yeah, and I think also maybe like in the first few meetings that you have with that person, if you have found something that could be your spouse, again, obviously in Islam we do it through family and things like that, but you know, both sides, like how we did it, you all said what you want to say. My mum's dad said, this is what we want, this is how Aisha is, da da da. And we both knew from the get-go that my health may be the reasons why some things can't happen. And then you said you were very clear that you wanted to, I was going to be living with my in-laws. So if my mum told you that a year into us not get married, or we already got married, and then I said, oh, by the way, my health, I can't do this and I can't do that, I get ill all the time, you then might be like, well, you should have said that.
Or if I didn't say that and then that I told them in first day that, I will be living with my son.
Yeah.
So
and I that made
that made you aware that, I'm not going to be living separate. I will be living with my in-laws. So it doesn't matter how you think about it, but you need to be prepared about it.
If you never said anything, we got married, and then Luffy said, oh, by the way, you do know that my mum said, then one, I would have been very angry, because you should have told us.
Because
it would have been a completely different situation, because obviously some people don't want that. And
if you don't want that, you are allowed to say no to that rishta, that, I'm not going to go ahead because this is not according to my expectation.
Yeah.
And I won't be prepared to do how you want us to be. So then at least you can save so many people's life going into stress and things like that. So
exactly, So I think when you're trying to find a spouse, is being able to communicate with each other and put all your cards on the table, say like, this is what I want. If I do want children, I want to be able to have a house. I want to, if you want to work as a woman, if you want to work, then you say, I do want to work. This is why I'm not going to be a stay-at-home mum. But then equally, if you do want to be a stay-at-home mum or a housewife, then because the husband might expect you to work because he can't afford the bills on his own.
That's right, yeah. And obviously, that's actually quite a big issue with families, Asian families, that, when they go for rishta, for example, in-laws, and some are who wants their daughter-in-law to be working to help their son out, and some don't want that to happen. So make that issue clear. If you want to work, then let them know and be honest that, I will be working no matter your son needs me to work or doesn't need me to work, but I want to work. And make sure that they are going to be agreed with this. If they're just saying for the time being, okay, however you want, but just try to make sure that, these are a couple of issues which usually happens, that, some of the in-laws have that mindset that their daughter-in-law should be housewife, no working woman.
Should do everything.
And she should be doing everything. So make sure and make it clear with them. And also I would like to request this, that to the daughter-in-laws, that, don't think always negative about in-laws, that they're gonna be. I know that there's all different people in the world. Some in-laws could be nice, some their problems as well, but just make sure that you do your bit and you do respect them and make everything clear from the start. so you don't have any issue afterwards.
And also just always trust in Allah that whatever you're doing it for the right reasons. If you've got good intentions for your relationship with your in-laws, for everything, then inshallah, you will get that given back to you. Because some people want it, but they don't have the good intentions for it. They want to have
and also don't always think that, if you have to help out with the in-laws, that means you are going to be slave. That's not true. That unless they treat you as one and say anything like that, but just helping out, doing things here and there, is not going to be slave. It's just respectable and
just helping in the house.
House. You are helping when you are with your mom and dad as well. So just same way you help your parents, you should be doing that same thing in your in-laws as well. Unless, like I said, that they treat you like that you are, put burden on you and make you do everything. That's wrong. That's wrong. But just little bit here and there helping out. Or, for example, if your mother-in-law is not well and helping her to, make some food or asking her for tea or, doing these things makes a lot of difference that, she thinks that, she's caring for me. Show your care, respect.
And that's not just for those who live with in-laws, because some of you might not live with your in-laws and you go visit. So even when you go visit your in-laws, helping out when you go, she's in the kitchen, or if, for example, you see your sister-in-law and your mother-in-law in the kitchen, going and say, even if you just say, do you need any help? And they say no, then that's fine.
That's fine, You've done your bit. Yeah. You've done your job.
You don't have to necessarily go and start scrubbing down this,
and also walls. Don't take wrong as well if they say no, because maybe in respect or in care or in love, they say that, oh no, it's okay, we'll do it. Don't take that as a negative as well, that, oh, they're not letting me do it. Yeah. So go according to
you can just stand there and just have a chat with them.
Yeah.
So if even they say no, you'll be like, okay, then, just have a chat, go, no, whatever. Just, you don't have to do anything, they've said no, fine. So just at least stand in there. If they go, oh, can you leave the room, then that's something different.
That's something different,
But most likely they won't say that. That's right. Because if they don't want your help, then just having that chat with them.
But these little things does make difference. I take it's positive vibes when you do things like that. That, like Aisha saying, asking for do you need help.
Yeah.
That makes other person, even that person is a little bit negative, that can give him encourage to be positive. Because you are showing your care and your respect to them.
Because even sometimes, actually, a lot of, for example, I come home from work, Auntie's making the roti, and I'll go in and start doing the heat, making it as well. But even if I just stood there and chat to her, she's not going to go, why have you not started doing it? She likes that I've just come in and had a chat with her and all that. But I will just automatically, you don't even...
And showing respect and appreciate. If, for example, your mother-in-law is doing a lot of things for you and not asking you to do everything, just appreciate and, try to help out however, whenever you can. So that will give her to respect you and care for you and love you as well.
Inshallah. But also we know that a lot of people say they do everything and still they don't get any respect back and actually we were saying this earlier, that Auntie's very open-minded and she's moving with the generation. She's moving with the change, that the way we think and the way we are, how life is nowadays, is that we can't, for example, we can't afford to just Nafis work on his own. Like I have to work as well. So she was the other day, let me start working, and we were like, no, you don't need to work, because of how times are, and that a lot of the older generation, I believe, not all, but some of them still are living like they are when they were 20, 21 years old, and that mindset is so different.
और मेरी ये request है मेरी generation के people के लिए कि आप लोगों को आज के ज़माने के साथ चलना सीखना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये हमारे लिए भी अच्छा है, हम भी अच्छी एक लाइफ गुजार सकते हैं इस तरह करने से, within a reason. Same way we say to daughter-in-laws within reason they can say or do things like that. हमें भी within reason ये चीज करनी चाहिए कि अपना change करना चाहिए mindset के अगर हम लोग इन लोगों को इनके मुताबिक चलने की या for example आप daughter-in-law लाए हो और आप नहीं चाहते कि वो काम करे तो लेकिन वो काम करना चाहती है जॉब करना चाहती है just let her to be how she wants to. अगर वो काम करना चाह रही है it will be helpful for your son, for your family as well and for herself. So won't be stressed.
And it's not a bad thing either.
It's no bad thing and घर में कोई झगड़ा नहीं होगा. और अगर वो नहीं करना चाहती तो उसको मजबूर ना करें कि नो आप हमें हेल्प की जरूरत है मनी वाइज या फाइनेंशियली तो आप करो काम. आप कोशिश करें आप खुद को एनवायरनमेंट के सिचुएशन के हिसाब से खुद को चेंज करें. जहां तक आपका हक बनता है आप उन पे मतलब अपना हक कर सकते हैं कि इस तरह से कर लो उस तरह. लेकिन अगर वो नई चीज हो पा रही उस तरह से तो अपनी आप थिंकिंग जो है पॉजिटिव रखें और चेंज करें अपने आप को अपने ख्यालात को कि आज की जनरेशन की जो ज़रूरियात हैं वो हमसे हमारी ज़रूरियात से थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट है. तो हमें उनके मुताबिक कुछ सीख लेना चाहिए कर लेना चाहिए और इंशाल्लाह फिर घर में स्ट्रेस नहीं होगा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. आप अपने बच्चे को अपने बेटे को स्ट्रेस में नहीं डालेंगे खुद स्ट्रेस में नहीं होंगे बहू को स्ट्रेस में नहीं डालेंगे तो इंशाल्लाह लाइफ अच्छी गुजरेगी.
Joe, I was just thinking actually about that question of finding a spouse is actually trying to look for one. I think as well, not obviously you have the communication and respect and all that and making sure you know everything for each other, but actually where do you find, I think a lot of people are like, but where do I go and find that man or where do I go and find that wife? Because nowadays like there's dating apps but that's not the right way to go, or there is halal ones but not everyone not all mothers or fathers want their kids to do it that way. But there's something like
अपनी मैं समझती हूँ कि अपनी both sides को in-laws या लड़का या लड़की दोनों sides को families को भी और लड़के और लड़की को भी अपनी expectation जो है थोड़ी सी little कर लें हर चीज में because nobody is perfect. No one is perfect. So here and there if you need to make any change to make the situation better you should be able to do that. So expectation को little within reason, I will always say that within reason जहाँ आप कर सकते हैं expectation को थोड़ा सा low करें तब it will.
So for example they need to go on a dating app, a halal one, or even like Rishta. There's those Rishta events, isn't there? I remember you were telling me about one of them. Not for me, but just like Aunty was telling me. And my actually one of my cousins, she went and she said there were so many people and they take their family with them. You know, she took her mum with her and then all the men had their like mum and dads or even aunties or whoever it is with them. So then again, from the get-go, you know, you're doing it in maybe and also just putting yourself out there, because if you're just expecting someone to come to you and you don't leave the house or you don't talk to anybody, you're not going to find anybody. And actually, you know what, I had this conversation with my mum before marriage. I said, Mum, you don't have any friends, like she has friends, but as in she doesn't have any friends in that sense where she could find a rishta for me. So and obviously I always said I didn't want to get married within family, so that was out of the question, and they were happy, they were accepted that. So then the next step was either I went on dating apps or I did this and I did this, but obviously how it worked out with the business, that's how it worked out. But it would have been really hard then if I didn't have done that step, because I wouldn't have.
तो आपको करना पड़ेगा.
It's a lot of family.
Otherwise you can't find it. Like Aisha said, family friends nahi hai if you don't have them that sort of way of finding it.
I think the environment you live in as well, because where we lived it was just mainly white British people, so there was no Asians.
Especially workplace as well.
Everyone was,
Asian
there's no one there.
Asian people.
So it is, I think in that sense, it is harder because one, there's no one around us to go and speak to, you know, even if you're going to town, barely anybody there for you to make friends with. And that's where we lived. We didn't have any Asians around us. And then
And also the way life is going now and the way people are, it's hard to trust just that to random people that, even on app as well, that, it's really getting hard. But
it is hard. But I think if you feel like you know a good person or a good family, I think that also helps as well.
And also if, for example, you think that so-and-so person is looking for one, for example, and you think the other person, you know, and you can help them to talk to each other and, try to find out that if they are compatible, then they can do that. So try to help others as well, if wherever you can. And
but you know what? It's also there's so many different elements of finding a spouse, because again, somebody might find someone, but for example, the in-laws might not like the way she looks, or the husband's at the...
That's why I was saying that expectation should be a little bit low.
Or they don't like the job she does.
There are lots of people...
the job that he does even. If he's not a doctor, you're not marrying him.
Yeah.
Well, I can't help that.
That's right.
Or he can't help that.
You can't help.
That's not his interest.
Everybody's not perfect, so you always need to little bit here and there.
Or he's not earning this much, so we're not... You can't... If you're going to have really high expectations, then it's going to be even harder for you to find the perfect one, because it comes with experience. Like, we might not be the most richest people in the world, but they might be the most kindest, loving, caring human being. Or they might be the most richest person in the world. They can provide for you and your family and do everything that you want, but they might actually be really horrible.
Yeah. So money is not everything, so just try to find kind people. Yeah. Kind person.
And then personality is more important than what... I think a job, obviously someone, if they're not earning enough to provide for the family, then maybe, because obviously I know as well, because I've had conversations with some friends when I was at uni, and they said, but if I'm earning this much, and I've worked really hard in life to be, for example, if they're a lawyer, okay, they've done their education. This is a girl. She's worked really hard. She has done her degrees. She's now a lawyer and she's now earning this much. She then doesn't really, which is fair enough, then want to be with somebody who didn't go to uni, left college, and then is only working in, not that Tesco's is anything wrong with Tesco, but they're not really providing. So she is earning and has got good, because she's worked that hard, then I think that's okay for her to then say, actually, no, I want somebody who either doesn't have to be a lawyer, but has worked hard enough to get there. Because there are some boys who literally will leave college and then just work in wherever, and try and don't do anything with their life. Because then you can see, if they're 30 years old and they still haven't even tried anything. I'm talking about a lot older. Obviously, if you're 18, 19, 21, you're different. I'm talking about people who are a lot old. For example, if I wasn't married now and I've worked I've done these degrees, and then I met someone who's still relies on his parents to pay for things, and I'm not going to want to marry somebody like that, because if they can't look after themselves, then how they're going to look after, not even me, if we have children, how are they going to look after our family? So I can see that, because some girls might have that expectation that actually he doesn't bring anything for me. If he can't look after himself and he still relies on dad to pay for everything, or he might have a job, but if he wants to go on holiday, his mum and dad are paying for it because he can't afford it, for example, then you're not going to really want
even though he's really nice or kind person, but if he's in that position that he can't actually look after you or your future.
And that's because they don't want to. It's not because he's not trying. Yeah. If you can see that they really want to try and they're ambitious, and then of course, then you can see. But unfortunately, there are some men who are very lazy and don't want to. They're happy with their 9 to 5, and they're happy just to earn, £1,000 a month, for example, and that's. But unfortunately, if you know that you're worth more. Yeah. And the same with a man. They might want their wife to actually be, have that as well. Because I remember Nafisa, I like how ambitious you are and how you want to achieve these things.
He always had that he wanted somebody who is really
ambitious and he was like that. So we both had the same mindset, that we both are ambitious. We both want to excel in our careers.
Yeah.
We both want to do well, not just because together, but for ourselves, and then obviously together as well.
Right.
But imagine if I was like, oh, I don't want to work ever again. I don't want to do anything. I just want to stay at home. He probably wouldn't be as interested as he was at the start.
It's not just because of the financially help or anything. It's just
the personality.
The personality they want for each other.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And that was his expectation that I remember him saying, he goes, I really like that about you, that you want to go travelling, you want to do this, you want to live life, you don't want to just sit at home and do nothing and expect me to bring everything. And that was, but if I was like that, I know that he would.
Yeah, and when these thinking starts matching with each other, then it helps you to be sure about that, how you, and do you actually
and also
want
your
that
children will then see that, won't they? Yeah. Because, now, inshallah, if we have children, they will see that both mum and dad have achieved this in life, they're both ambitious, they both want to do this, and naturally they will grow up to be like that as well. Whereas if they see one person that's really lazy, doesn't want to do anything, and the other is trying their best, and then, unless obviously for health reasons, there's a reason for it, she can't do it or he can't do it. Obviously that's different, but I think
these are the normal expectations, though, which you can have for the partner to be having those, if you have those expectations. But some of the expectations, like if you want really, high standard and all that, and
all these designer bags all the time,
this and that.
Yeah, that's
those
different.
things, that's why I'm saying that if, for example, you are always wearing branded stuff, but the other person you chose, and he's kind, he's all that, but he won't be able to, for the time being, afford all those branded stuff, and you can lower that expectation.
Yeah, there's things like that you can be like, actually, that's okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that will come, inshallah,
if you think that person is really ambitious, and afterwards he will be able to one day, inshallah, to provide you all that stuff, then that's fine. But so at the moment you can, at the moment you can keep that expectation down. That,
I think things like that, and the same with like looks and weight and things like that. Maybe if somebody's a little bit heavier than you, but
that person is kind, financially settled and everything, and with your help, he's that sort of person that if you try to tell him or help him out or encourage him, he will be the way you want him to be. Yeah. So that's what the expectation should be.
You might have 6 boxes you want to tick off, and one of them isn't ticked, and then you're like, that's it, that's not the right person for me. Then you're never going to find someone, because you're never going to have all 6 boxes ticked off. Maybe in the future, that box might be ticked off,
and but instead of 6, there will be 7. Oh, there could be more as well. So,
it's that compromise as well.
1 or 2 things, if there is here and there, can be changed in future. Then just
but if it's something that is very important to you, for example, like career can be really important to some people, education can be really important to some people, then obviously then you just need to then make sure you're looking for those type of people. Don't be looking for anyone and everyone, because not everyone's going to have 3 degrees. Not everyone's going to have, for example, I've got 3 degrees and Nafisa's got 1. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to...
And now Aisha shouldn't be having the person she's going to choose, or, it should be having 3 because I've got 3. So that sort of things be saying that, can be...
exactly, yeah. I think some people say as well, girls are very independent before they get married, and then, I was very independent before I got married. I earned my own money, I did my own thing, I drive, I do everything. But naturally, when you get married, you do start to depend on your husband or your spouse, because you're a partnership. You're living life together. Now I'm like, Nafis, can you come with me to go to the shops? He goes, just go, you can do it. And mum joked around, she goes, you used to be so independent, now you get really scared really easily. But it's just because naturally, you spend so much time with that person that you do want to have them there with you all the time. Before marriage, I used to go and see my friends, come back late some days. I used to go and spend, I lived at uni on my own for 3-4 years. and then now obviously I go.
You're literally to be with you.
I'm like, can we go together? But even like, actually sometimes I'll meet up with my friends. I'm like, Nafis, can you come as well, or bring your mum as well, and then we all go together, and then I'll go off, and like, because you just naturally and like, you shouldn't be scared that your independence, because I still have independence. I can still do things on my own, and I can still, I'll go to work on my own. I go shopping on my own, But I like now having him with me, because I'm married to him.
But that shouldn't be a problem for the other person. For example, if she was independent and she told Nafis or her partner that, she's like that, and little bit she changed here and there, that doesn't mean that she's a bad person.
No.
So that sort of changing, you should be prepared to having in your life and accepting that.
Yeah. It's like Nafis he always says this to me, because I used to hate not being around people. Now he likes his own time, and I shouldn't be offended by that, because if I say, well, you never liked that before, now you don't. But it's just things, you start to change a little bit, but it's not the end of the world if he wants his own time.
That sort of changing, you should be accepting and not being annoyed or having arguments about it, or changing yourself.
I think as you get older as well, you start to think.
Yeah.
I think especially the last 2 years I've been married, I feel like I've aged like 100 years. Because I just want to be at home all the time. I want to comfort my own home with my family. And like at the start of our relationship, we used to like go out a lot and do things. And now Nafis is slowly starting to be like, yeah, should we just go home now? The other day, for the first time, we were out for dinner. He goes, I just want to be home. I said, oh, what? You never say that. So, but I think that just comes with, as you get older, you kind of prioritise things differently. The family, because even if your family is important to you from the get-go, I feel like it becomes even more important as you get older, especially when you're married. I personally just think that. And then also just like, I wanted to have all the best clothes in the world and all that. And now I'm just like, it doesn't matter if I don't. Yeah, and things like that, because I'd rather save that money to do something else. But before I would just spend it and be like, oh, yeah, well, the money will just come whenever it will come. Yeah. Your priorities change. So in terms of like, again, finding a spouse is having those, Aunty will say about low expectation, not just from the in-laws, but also the person, yourself.
Yeah.
If they don't tick all boxes, they will, inshallah, one day, if not more boxes will be ticked. And yeah, having that low expectation, having good communication with not just your partner, but your family as well.
Yeah, when you especially find somebody, you need to be having proper communication with the person who you're going to spend the life with, and also in-laws. Don't ignore that family part, because obviously that's going to be in your life as well. And especially if you find somebody and that is family person, and just make sure everything that how you want it to be.
Yeah.
Is it like that? Or is there anything which you need to be changing, and can you change yourself? Or is that expectation is wrong or right? Or can you, be fulfilling that expectation? All those things, just be sure about it. Think positive. Have faith on Allah, and inshallah Allah will help you.
And just have good intentions in whatever you choose to do in life. Excuse me, oh my God. Whatever path you go down, always have good intentions. My mum always said, and Aunty said this actually as well, I think we've said this before the podcast, you have two paths. You can choose to go down the right path, or you can choose to go down the wrong path. And if you always choose to go down the right path, then good will come back to you, and you'll get rewarded.
Because this life is a test. You need to, Allah's given you life, and Allah's given you two ways, like Aisha just said now, that, two ways, and you are the person who's going to be choosing right or wrong. So you know what to do.
And Allah's giving you that choice. Okay, guys, sorry, the camera just died, so we're going to have to wrap this up. But inshallah, next week we can discuss more about it. Yeah. Because I think it's about to die. But thank you guys so much for joining. So much. Yeah. And inshallah, we will see you next week. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.